Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question comes to us from the True Stories collection, as in, it actually happened at an event that I was actually judging. During a deck check at a modern tournament, you note that Amy's deck list says that she's playing 4 Force of Wills. Now, in case something changes in the future, I feel like I should note that, as of the filming of this video, Force of Will is not a legal card in Modern. Now, the similarly named card, Force of Negation, does something very similar and is a format staple. So even absent any other type of information, I think that it's a pretty fair assumption to say that this is the card that Amy probably meant to say. Now, as you do the deck check, you notice that this is indeed the case. Amy doesn't have any Force of Wills, but she does have 4 Force of Negations. So, what is the appropriate infraction, penalty, and fix? Alright, so anytime you have an issue like this, you should probably be thinking of either deck problem or deck list problem. In this case, Amy's deck list has an illegal card name on it, so that would mean that the deck list has a problem. In other words, the correct infraction to issue here would be a deck list problem. Now, usually a deck list problem has a penalty of a game loss, and as an additional remedy, you would have the player adjust their deck list and deck, if appropriate, to bring it back into a state of legality. So for example, if you found that Amy really was playing 4 Force of Wills here, you would have her sub those out for 4 basic lands and adjust the deck list accordingly. Afterwards, you can have the players continue their match. There's one more thing that I wanted to talk about though that's on this subject. The whole purpose of having deck lists and deck checks in the first place is that we want to keep players from changing out what cards they play from round to round. Now, if you have a card not listed, or a card with an ambiguous name written on your deck list, well, you could potentially be subbing that out every round until you get caught. On the other hand, if you have something like Force of Negation and Force of Will, well, like I noted at the beginning of the episode, it makes a lot of sense that you really were referring to Force of Negation with that card name, and there aren't a lot of other candidates for what it would make sense as. So, there's a caveat that the head judge can take advantage of in cases like this. If you're the head judge and you determine, based on your judgment, that what the player wrote on their deck list is unambiguous, then you can choose not to issue the deck list problem penalty. That would mean the player would not get a game loss and would be able to continue the rest of their tournament as normal. As a judge, it's probably a good idea to write a note on the player's deck list that says that you talked to them about this, and that would make the rest of their deck checks go a lot more smooth if you did have this sort of thing come up in the future. Before I close out, I want to give everyone a little bit of caution. This is something that's up to the head judge's discretion, and that is subject to change. So for example, if next year they print some card called Force of Willfulness that's playable in Modern, well, I might not be making the same ruling as I did this time around. However, it definitely does feel nice as a judge to be able to not have to give somebody a game loss for something that was almost certainly an honest mistake. And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again tomorrow for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.